I guess the first thing we should talk about in the game is Joe Flacco. Is he the guy going forward, despite the loss?
Gotta be.
I think, yeah. I agree with you, John.
Way more poised. I think I texted everyone yesterday and said DTR would have taken multiple sacks by now. It was third quarter. PJ Walker, multiple sacks, multiple picks, multiple fumbles.
Yep.
You know, I know we didn't win and we only put up, I don't want to say only put up 19, but we put up 19. Could have done better. We had to settle for a field goal a few times. Missed a PAT.
I said it was a race to 20. We didn't get there. Should have got there, but we missed the PAT. Hey, Gage, I see you. The committee did the right thing. You'll find out. Stay tuned. So I said it was a race to 19. What's really crazy is when he missed the extra point, I immediately thought, as long as the defense, he's gonna kick a game winner. Like
yeah,
I just thought, I was like, he's going to come back. It's going to be all right. This team's going to fight through. If the defense doesn't give up any more points, it's not going to matter. We're going to go down. We're going to win he's going to redeem himself. Unfortunately, he didn't get the opportunity.
No.
It's got to be Joe Flacco's job going forward. I know Stefanski said he hasn't decided yet. To me, that is, he's going to keep that close. He's not going to announce that until later in the week. Just make the Jags prepare for both.
At this point in time in the season, with what we're dealing with on the injury front and everything, why not? You know, why tell anybody anything? Who cares?
No,
I know most of the time I think that's kind of like, okay, haha, dumb, like when coaches do that kind of thing. But that's usually earlier in the season. At this point, yeah, absolutely.
No, and make them prepare for both, especially because they're two very different styles of quarterback. So if they have to prepare for both, I mean, that's big drastic change in styles that you're forcing them to do.
Who's to say if PJ, wow, never mind. Who's to say if DTR is not like healthy and the backup quarterback, we couldn't bring him in on some like special packages where, is he going to run a QB sweep, a draw? Is he going to throw? You know what I mean? He's not like a Taysom Hill where throwing is a little bit like he's an actual quarterback. So I don't know. I could see them using him in situations as well.
Again, Gage, no. So I'll get to you. I lost my train of thought in terms of now they got to have two different people play scout team quarterback all week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They unless they got a guy who can be stationary Joe Flacco and run around like DTR. So I think it's close to playing it, keeping it in-house. Unless somebody said he came out and said it. I don't know if he's talking about something with Gage or if he's talking about with Kevin. But as far as I know, before I came in here, we hadn't committed to a starter yet. I said before, I thought he should be the guy going forward. Hadn't seen him playing. I said, but if it goes the way I anticipate, I expect the offense to be more open. I expect him to make quicker reads, be accurate, push the ball down the field more. And I just felt like the offense would be more open. That being said, I thought the run game would benefit from him, and the run game was still very bad. Oh. Now, I know like Aaron Donald is maybe having a down year for him. He's still one of the all-time great defensive linemen in this league. So, but man, we didn't run the ball for great numbers. I thought Kareem Hunt was great in short yardage. I stayed offline a lot after this game because after like the last 2 weeks of winning and people still complaining about our coach, I just didn't even want to see it.
It's not good, man.
You know what I mean? And if you actually watched that game, you know that play calling was the furthest thing from the problem. Okay, I actually thought Kevin called a very smart game in terms of if it was third and short, he didn't get cute like people like to say ever. We just lined it up and ran power football and gave the ball to Kareem Hunt and said, "Go get me 2 yards."
Here comes Nick Harris, and let's go.
Yep, like he kept it very. I felt like he kept it very simple, and he played it smart. The interception by Joe Flacco, just because he calls a play that has a shot in it doesn't mean he told Joe Flacco, no matter what, throw this ball.
Joe Flacco, did you see Joe Flacco's quote?
I did not.
Okay, so they asked him about it, and Joe Flacco said the Rams had everybody matched up. I was in the pocket a long time. It was ultimately a bad decision. I was late throwing that pass. Like he decided, like you said, of course there was a route in that play that was a deep route.
Yes. And there was other routes.
There was other routes, and he felt like everybody else was covered. He had the ball. He had the ball for a while. The clock was ticking in his head. His mental timer was going off. And so he said, screw it, I'm taking the deep shot. And we went back and looked at the play, and Elijah Moore was covered. There were two defenders in that area, and you saw John Johnson end up making that interception because at the last second, Elijah Moore broke into the center of the field. And if Joe Flacco had held the ball for another second and thrown it that way, Elijah Moore's wide open, going straight down for a touchdown. No one's around him. He threw to where Elijah Moore was. And whenever he bailed, the ball was already in the air and pick.
So I thought outside of the interception, he played well enough to make me think, how is this guy not on a team somewhere? How had the Jets not called him back?
His arm looks very strong.
Yes, it looks strong. He accurate. He knew where to go with the ball. The reason I expected him to play well is he's kind of the quarterback that Stefanski has excelled with in the past. He's a worse at this point in his career, and probably always, but he's a worse version than Kirk Cousins. But a guy who can take the snap, make a quick read, get the ball out accurately on time where it needs to be the playmaker. That's literally how he won a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this guy can play well in Stefanski's system. The thing that scares me the most is, what have we been saying all season? We just need a quarterback to come in, just not turn the ball over. They don't have to put up crazy good numbers. They just got to not turn the ball over, and that way and not give up points, and we can ride this defense. Well, this defense has been struggling now for close to a month, and I think some Browns fans are finally starting to see it. We have obviously been very high on the defense, but there's been times this year, aka after that Seahawks game, where we were calling them out, and everybody just wanted to blame the offense and blame Stefanski for play calling. And we tried to tell you, guys, if this defense was to be considered elite, they got to be able to get that stop. And then we got to play the Steelers, who had Kenny Pickett, and we saw what their offense is like, even with Mitch Trubisky this week. But other than that, the Ravens put up 30. The Broncos shredded us. Yeah. The Rams just shredded us. We gave up over 400 yards of offense.
Don't forget the Colts.
And even though the Steelers didn't put up a ton of points on us, they ran for like 170 some yards on us. Yeah, and we said if they would have kept giving the ball to Jaylen Warren, the Browns would have lost.
And there's no saying that he's going to break another big play, but what we've seen is the big play. The first Pittsburgh game, it all started in week 2, and it's happened pretty much every game since. Week 2, it was the George Pickens, and then it was the Jaylen Warren. It was the Odell Beckham against the Ravens. Now it's the Puka Nacua 70-yard. There's always a big play that this defense just gives up, and right now we're not good enough to really overcome that, it seems like.
No, and I know the defense kind of stiffened up and played well in like quarters 2.5 to 4-ish, somewhere in there. My biggest issue was this offense is playing, I said, with 2 arms and a leg tied behind their back right now, especially after Amari Cooper went out. And they fight and they scrap and they get a great drive and go down the field and tie it up with 2 minutes to go in the half. And what does our defense do? They let them march right down the field and take the lead again before the half. Yep. And it's like this offense they're scrapping and doing everything they can. And then as soon as they tie it up and we got some momentum, you let them just walk right down the field and take the lead back again before the half. Yeah. So all the momentum we had gained before the half, you let them just take it right back. And that's what was killer for me. It was just like untimely problems. I've never seen an NFL team not be able to stop a jet sweep. And they killed us on it. And they did it again, and we got lucky that there was a holding call.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedawgspodcast.com.